two royal children faced certain death because of their stepmother's lies. Phrixus and Helle were condemned by a false oracle that demanded their sacrifice to save the kingdom. But the gods refused to let innocents die for another's deception. Hermes sent a magnificent ram with fleece of pure gold to carry them away through the sky. The divine creature lifted them high above the earth, racing over mountains and seas. But the journey was treacherous. As they soared over the narrow strait, young Helle lost her grip. She plummeted into the waters below, giving her name to the Hellespont forever. Phrixus held on and reached safety in distant Colchis. To honor the ram that saved his life, he sacrificed the noble creature to the gods. Its spirit was placed among the stars as Aries, the constellation of new beginnings. Europa, a Phoenician princess of stunning beauty, walked peacefully along the Mediterranean shore. Zeus watched from Mount Olympus, consumed not just by desire, but by complete obsession. Instead of using force, he chose cunning transformation. He became a magnificent white bull, gentle and calm, with eyes like jewels. Europa approached cautiously, then touched his soft hide, finally climbing onto his back. The moment she settled, everything changed. The bull moved toward the sea, walking deeper and deeper into the waves. Europa realized her mistake too late as land disappeared behind them. Zeus swam across the entire ocean with her clinging desperately to his back. In Crete, he revealed his true form and claimed her as queen. She became mother to kings, including the legendary Minos. Taurus warns us that desire can disguise itself as safety, that gentleness can mask unstoppable power. The bull now sits eternal among the stars, representing endurance and the gravity of hidden obsession. The constellation Gemini was born from a brother's impossible choice between immortality and love. In ancient Greece, Queen Leda gave birth to twin sons on the same night, but they had different fathers. Castor was fully human, destined to age and die like any mortal man. Pollux was the son of Zeus himself, blessed with eternal life. Despite their different fates, the brothers were inseparable, fighting side by side in every battle. Until one day, Castor fell in combat, his mortal body finally claiming him. Pollux was devastated. What good was immortality without his other half? He begged Zeus to take back his gift, to let him die alongside his brother. But immortality cannot be undone, and death cannot be reversed. Zeus offered a compromise. The twins would alternate between heaven and the underworld, never fully together, never completely apart. He placed them among the stars as Gemini. The constellation Cancer was born from an act of hopeless loyalty. During the second of Heracles' 12 labors, the hero faced the deadly Hydra in the swamps of Lerna. Each time he cut off one head, two more grew back stronger than before. The ground turned black with poison as the battle raged. From Mount Olympus, Hera watched with burning hatred for her stepson. She sent a small crab crawling into the chaos, knowing it stood no chance against the mighty hero. The tiny creature scuttled through the poisonous mud and snapped at Heracles' heel. Without even looking down, the hero crushed it beneath his foot. The crab died instantly, forgotten in the greater battle. But Hera had witnessed something beautiful, absolute devotion without hope of victory. The little crab had shown up anyway, defending what it believed in. For this quiet courage, Hera placed it among the stars as Cancer. Constellation Leo comes from a beast that no weapon could kill. In ancient Greece, the Nemean lion terrorized the countryside with golden fur that deflected every blade and arrow. Its claws cut through bronze like paper, and its roar emptied entire villages. This wasn't just any lion. It was born from divine wrath, sent to punish mortals who had forgotten their place. Then came Heracles on his first labor, armed with the finest weapons of his time. His sword shattered. His arrows bounced harmlessly off the beast's hide. Desperate, he followed the lion into its dark cave and did the unthinkable. He threw away his weapons and fought with bare hands. For hours they wrestled in suffocating darkness until Heracles finally strangled the creature. He wore its impenetrable skin as armor, turning terror into protection. The gods placed the lion among the stars. Constellation Virgo tells the story of the last god to abandon humanity. Long ago, during the Golden Age, gods and mortals lived together on Earth in perfect harmony. Among them walked Astrea, the celestial maiden of justice and purity. She wasn't a ruler or warrior, just a gentle presence who guided humans toward fairness and balance. But as centuries passed, humanity began to change. Greed crept in during the Silver Age, followed by violence and deception in the Bronze Age. One by one, the disappointed gods retreated to the heavens. Yet Astrea remained, unwilling to give up on the people she loved. She watched them lie, cheat, and hurt each other, her heart breaking with each cruel act. Finally, even she could endure no more. With deep sorrow, not anger, she ascended to the sky. Her departure marked the end of divine innocence on Earth. Now she watches as Virgo, holding her scales among the stars, forever hoping humanity might find its way back to goodness. The constellation Libra is the only zodiac sign represented by an object instead of a living being. Long before human laws existed, the goddess Astrea carried sacred scales across the heavens. These weren't tools of punishment, but instruments of perfect balance. She weighed truth against lies, intentions against consequences, maintaining cosmic harmony. The scales were older than kings, older than gods themselves. As humanity fell into chaos and greed, the scales grew heavier with imbalance. Even the gods weren't exempt from their measure, as divine pride and rivalry threatened all harmony. Justice wasn't about choosing sides, it was about finding proportion. When Astrea could no longer bear the corruption below, she ascended to the stars. The scales followed, becoming Libra, preserving the ideal of fairness beyond mortal emotion. Long ago, there lived a hunter named Orion. He was strong, skilled, and completely full of himself. Orion bragged that no animal could ever defeat him. He even claimed he could kill every creature on Earth. This made Gaia, the Earth goddess, furious. How dare this mortal threaten her children? So she created the perfect weapon, a giant scorpion that rose from the ground itself. The scorpion didn't charge or roar. It simply waited and watched and followed. When Orion finally met the silent hunter, all his strength meant nothing. One precise strike, one drop of venom. The great hunter fell. The gods placed both in the stars, but on opposite sides of the sky. They never appear together, forever separated by their deadly dance. Chiron was different, half man, half horse. But unlike other centaurs who live for chaos, he lived for knowledge, medicine, astronomy, music, prophecy. He taught heroes like Achilles and Hercules. His power wasn't conquest, it was guidance, always pointing others toward greatness, never claiming it for himself. Then came the accident. A poisoned arrow meant for another pierced his flesh. Immortal, so he couldn't die. Divine, so he couldn't heal. Endless pain, endless wisdom, endless suffering. The cruelest irony, knowing everything about healing except how to heal yourself. But Chiron had one final lesson to teach. He traded his immortality to free Prometheus, chose purpose over eternity, meaning over comfort. Zeus placed him in the stars, Sagittarius, the eternal archer. A monster so vast that even Zeus fled, Typhon, chaos given form. The Olympians scattered, disguising themselves as animals, abandoning their thrones. Pan found himself trapped, land behind him, sea ahead, Typhon approaching. He leaped. In that moment of desperation, his body began to change. Half goat, half fish, neither one thing nor another. But he survived, not through strength, through adaptation. The other gods eventually won, not with lightning bolts alone, but with patience, planning, endurance. Pan's strange form became a symbol. Zeus placed him in the stars, Capricorn. A mortal boy caught the eye of Zeus, not through prayer, not through worship, through beauty alone. Ganymede lived quietly on Earth, unaware he was being watched. The choice wasn't his to make. That's what people forget about gods. Zeus descended as an eagle, carrying the boy to Olympus. Ganymede gained immortality. He lost everything else, his home, his family, his freedom. He became cupbearer to the gods, pouring their divine wine. sustaining their eternal lives. But here's the twist. A mortal standing among gods changes everything. Ganymede didn't serve, he disrupted. His very presence challenged the order of Olympus. Zeus placed him in the stars as Aquarius, the water bearer, not as punishment, as recognition. When Typhon rose from the earth, chaos had a name. The monster wasn't just big, it was the end of everything. Even immortals forgot their pride. Even gods chose survival over strength. Aphrodite ran, her son Eros beside her. Love itself was fleeing. The river appeared ahead, Typhon's roar behind. They jumped, not as gods, as fish. But here's what matters. In that moment of terror, they tied themselves together. A cord between them, a choice. Not to face the darkness alone. Love didn't conquer the monster. Love endured it. They survived by staying connected, by moving together, by refusing separation. Zeus placed them in the stars, two fish swimming side by side. Pisces, the final sign of the Zodiac. Not about victory, about compassion.